If fear is keeping you from living out your purpose with confidence, then you came to the right spot. I'm Dr. Rees, and I'm a purpose and confidence scientist, and I'm on a mission to help you get free with fear. You heard that right. Not free from fear, free with fear. Because to have fear is to be human. Because fear is a human emotion that really saves us from danger, but can also keep us from living out our purpose with confidence. And we cannot have that anymore. So in this series, I'm going to be teaching you the mindsets, habits, and skills that you need in order to not get away from fear, not avoid fear, but how to lean into it, because confidence is not being fearless. It's about embracing the fear and then living with it and pursuing, so that way you can actualize your potential despite the fear that you experience. Let's get after it. Whether you like it or not, fear is a necessary emotion that signals when we are in danger. So we need this emotion in order to protect us and keep us safe. So for a small example, today I'm out walking my dog and her chain got a little bit loose, and initially sparked fear in me because I thought that she had got off it. And this is a dog that'll just run away. And so instantly my heart starts to race, my mind goes looking for her, and then the fear was calm. And so what happens is there's a part in our brain called the amygdala, and that is like our fear sensor. And so when we encounter any kind of life-threatening situation, something that may be scary, that can harm us, somebody else, the amygdala goes off. And then what happens is it sends a signal to our prefrontal cortex, which here in the US world, we call our CEO or our executive. And so immediately, our amygdala feels this threat, sends this signal to our prefrontal cortex, and then from there, whatever thought that we apply can either increase, decrease, intensify, and then puts us either in action or causes no action to occur. And so the fear is necessary because it literally helps protect us and others. But what happens is if you're not trained in your ability to recognize the difference between a life-threatening situation or something that may be challenging, your brain can no longer tell the difference. And that there is where the problem lies, is that our brain is structured to save us, to protect us, to keep us alive. But what has to happen is you kind of have to trick yourself to be able to gain the mindsets, habits, and skills that you need to recognize the fear and then say, I understand what this is. My life is not in danger. This is just something that may be scary to me, but it could be good for me. But if you're not trained to be able to have that conversation with yourself or to recognize the difference, then you'll never be able to develop a confident and constructive fear response. So to sum it up, fear is a natural human emotion that we experience inside of our bodies, in our brains, in our amygdala. And once we feel that there's a life-threatening situation, it sends that signal to our prefrontal cortex, and then our prefrontal cortex then assigns a level of intensity to our thought process to what is actually going on. And then that influences our behavior, whether we do something or we don't do something. So because your brain has been doing what it's been trained to do all along, it's easy for us to perceive that feeling and that intenseness of fear as something that is wrong. And so we have what I call two different responses to fear. We can have an insecure, destructive response, or we can have a confident and constructive response. Again, because we grow up experiencing fear, it becomes natural for us to be able to respond to any situation that may seem and appear life-threatening. Keywords here are seem and appear, and actually also perceive. So the way that our prefrontal cortex perceives that feeling that our amygdala is giving off will dictate how we respond to what's going on. So let's say that you get a really big opportunity to do something that you care about, something that you love, whether it's at your job, it's something that's connected to something that you want to succeed in. You can start to experience the emotion of fear inside your body. So then what happens is that your prefrontal cortex, where your thoughts and feelings exist, can then say, this is dangerous. We don't want to do this because we can be embarrassed. And then what happens, and you start to collect data based off of past events that did not go on your way. So you're presented with an opportunity that requires you to maybe take a risk, but your body sees that as a warning sign and signal that this is dangerous. Now, if you've never done the work to be able to identify that, yes, it may be scary, but it's not life-threatening. And that right there is the difference. Is, yeah, I may have a sense of fear around this and you develop what we call that confident self-talk to be able to have that conversation with you, if you don't have that skill, then you'll never take the risk that's required for you to bet on yourself. If you don't develop that skill, then every opportunity that comes your way will probably stop coming your way because you're not taking those opportunities. And then what happens and how this impacts your purpose is you literally don't do the things that you're called to do because your brain is telling you that they are life threatening. So we start to apply life threatening intensity to non-life threatening opportunities. And that's what we have to stop so we can develop the ability to recognize the difference between a challenge and a life threat. But it may not necessarily just be something that's in front of you, because obviously an opportunity may not seem like it's life threatening. But in your mind, if your prefrontal cortex, again, the way that you think and feel assigns life threatening intensity over it, then that opportunity will tell your brain that we fear this and we're not going to pursue this because of how we have contributed that thought process and perceived it in our mind. And perception is reality. So we have made this a real life threatening thing that really is just a great opportunity that allows you to continue to be able to live out your purpose. Being confident isn't about being fearless. It's about diminishing the power and control that fear have over your life, which is why the series is called Free with Fear instead of Free from Fear. So let's get to the next step. When a situation occurs that influences fear, I believe that we have two responses. We can have a insecure, destructive response or a confident and constructive response. So same situation, it is fear, which we know now lies in our amygdala, which is an emotion that we have that then sends a signal up to our executive, which influences cortisol, or it can influence dopamine, and that is based off how we perceive the threat in our mind. So when we have that insecure, destructive feeling, that is in alignment with influencing stress and cortisol because we perceive it as life-threatening. When we have that constructive, confident response, that is connected to dopamine and perceiving it as a challenge. An insecure, destructive response can lead to anxiety and worry or avoidance, again, increased stress and spiral, and can put you in a cycle of analysis paralysis, all because we perceive the situation as life-threatening. It puts us almost in a survival mode state, which your brain is doing its job, protecting you. But if we're going to develop the skill of having a confident and constructive response, which allows us to respond with hope, motivation, optimism, which develops our confidence, our resilience, and our self-efficacy, then we have to be able to get to the root of our fears in the first place. Now, before we get to the nuances of these responses, I want to talk about why I've labeled them insecure, destructive, and confident, constructive. When you think about the foundation of anything, if the foundation of something is not secure, then it's fragile and it's faulty, and it has the inability to carry something, which is why it's opposite of confident, because confident is secure. But if we go backwards and we think about how insecure and destructive go hand in hand, if we are having a insecure, destructive response to something, anything that is destructive breaks down. So if we have a insecure response to something that could be good for us, to not taking chances, to not betting on ourselves, to not picking up on these opportunities and taking risks, then it's literally destroying our purpose. And so if your response to fear destroys your purpose, then it is an insecure, destructive response to fear. Now, on the opposite side, you have a confident, constructive. And what does constructive do? Construction builds things up. And so the more that you're able to train yourself in developing a confident, constructive response to fear, that allows you to develop, again, your self-efficacy and to be able to live out your purpose and to put your gifts out and to add value to other people. Because confidence adds and security subtracts. So in this series, my mission is to help you get free from fear. And 3 of the things that I want to help you do is, number 1, increase your self-regulation. Because fear is a normal human experience that is necessary to protect us from all types of dangers. But we have to be able to recognize what kind of danger is this, and is it really a threat to my life or somebody else's life? Because not every situation determines or deserves the same amount of energy. And that requires a skill, a mindsets and habits that we have to put into action and we have to rep over and over in order for our brains to be rewired to not see everything as a threat. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm a Black mass presented woman in America. I understand what it looks like and feels like to be perceived as a threat. But I'm also very ambitious and confident, and I would not be able to be the person that I am today if I did not develop a confident, constructive response to fear. So self-regulation is necessary because your mind and brain emotions, this is a biopsychosocial experience that's going on. Your biology, the psychology of your brain, and the sociology of what you do and your behaviors. This fear impacts everything. And there are too many people out here living their lives and they're not living out their purpose with confidence. There's a difference between being alive and living out your purpose with confidence. And fear is the number one reason why so many people do not take that first action towards activating their gifts, towards becoming the person that they were created to be, towards being able to build the thing that is on their heart and chasing that dream or living that dream, or simply seeking a life of peace because of fear. The second piece is you will have increased emotional confidence, which is connected to having high psychological well-being. And the reason why this is important is because when you know that you have the ability to respond in the way that you desire to, and not just based off of how your emotions want you to respond, this is going to increase your overall confidence and satisfaction and allow you to be able to reach your potential and have some self-actualization. The third piece is the most important thing, and that is your ability to live your confident life. Again, that is your ability to live your confident life, and that's on your terms. Because again, being confident is not being fearless. It's being able to pursue the life that you desire to live, the life that you deserve to live, not fearless, but diminishing the power and control that fear has over your life. So when you say, I'm going to learn how to live with fear, I'm going to learn how to fight with fear, I'm going to learn how to persevere with fear, I'm going to learn how to be resilient with fear, I'm going to learn how to grow my self-efficacy with fear, I'm going to learn how to do that thing that I was born to do with fear, it means that you are developing the courage. It means that you are leveraging the resilience that is inside of you, so that way you could become the person that you were created to be. And it's not the absence of fear, but it's with fear. Because again, fear is necessary, and we want to be able to understand that we are the bag, and fear is going to also be a signal that this thing matters to me. And a part of living your confident life is being able to do things that matter to you. So here's what I want you to do. The first thing is this. I want you to write a wants list. You can either write it down in a journal or put it in your phone, and it's just a wants list. What are all the things that you want? Don't think small, think big. Think so big it puts an organic smile on your face. Think so big that maybe it even brings you to tears. What are all the things that you want to come from your life? Now, you're going to feel some natural tension. You're going to feel like that fear is starting to rise up. I don't want you to think, what if this doesn't happen and this doesn't happen for me? I want you to think anything. All I want you to think about are, what do I want? What do I want? And I want you to write a list of at least 20 things. So your challenge is to write a list of 20 things that you want from your life, big or small. Then the next list that I want you to make are, what are the fears? That's it. Super simple. 2 lists. What are all the things that I want? And then what are the fears that I have? And if you want to go the next step, then you can take this and you can put them side by side. I want this, but I fear this. I want this thing, but I fear that. I want to grow on social media, but I fear making videos. I want to ask for a raise, but I fear my boss's response. I want to get my driver's license, but I fear driving. Like whatever it may be, I want you to write down what you want in life. And then I also want you to match it with the fears. We have to be able to call out the fears, because that is our first step in being able to gain control over our fears and diminish the power that our fears have over us in our life. Now, the next thing that I need you to do is I need you to write a comment and let me know what is one fear that you're willing to face, so that way you can live your confident life. And if you felt like this video added value to your life, I would love if you can like and subscribe, and then send this video to somebody else that you know that can also get immense value out of this. I believe in you, I love you, and I want you to remember that you are worthy of living your confident life.